There are several great reasons to study at the University of Nebraska. One of them, I believe, is particularly of interest to the Doctor of Plant Health program. And that deals with the variability that we see across the state of Nebraska, particularly the environmental variability. In southeastern Nebraska, the elevation is about 840 feet above sea level. In western Nebraska, we do have areas in the Panhandle that are above a mile high, or over 5,000 feet above sea level. So that elevation impacts the environmental conditions. The other major thing that does impact the environmental condition is rainfall. Rainfall in southeastern Nebraska will range from 30 to 35 inches a year. In western Nebraska, or particularly western parts of the Panhandle, annual rainfall is below 15 inches a year. So again, tremendous variability. We might see more variability from southeast Nebraska to western Nebraska than we will see, say, from eastern Nebraska to the Atlantic coast. So again, the variability can be very significant. The end result of this variability of environmental conditions is really the impact that it will have on plants and how plants grow. If we look at the changes in elevation and the changes in rainfall across the state, this really feeds into the variability that we see in evapotranspiration. Evapotranspiration is the ability of plants to take up moisture and utilize moisture. And so we will see a very tremendous variability as we go from east to west. Evapotranspiration demand in the west is much higher than it is in the east, and this does impact the ability of plants to withstand stress and really to undergo stress. So again, very significant factors. Another significant factor that we see a great variability across the state, and that's the edaphic factors, or the soil factors. Many of the soils in the east are much deeper, much richer, will hold much more moisture than many of the soils, particularly in the sandhills or even in the west, where we oftentimes see fairly sandy soils that have relatively low amount of water holding capacity. If we look across the state, we really can break the state up into four ecoregions, or four primary ecoregions. The furthest east region would be the region that's associated with the western Corn Belt. As we move across the state, we get into a Great Plains region, in the central Sandhills region, and very far west, we're getting into the High Plains ecoregions. Now, if we look at the impact of all of these factors on how plants grow, we certainly can understand that as we move across Nebraska, we will be growing different types of plants under different types of conditions. And this variability will impact how we manage those plants and how those plants can best be utilized in an economic system of agriculture. The variability as we move across the state can be tremendous. We do see variability in the types of plants, but also in the rotations in which these plants are grown. Also, as we move across the state, the University of Nebraska has different locations, research and extension center locations, that do mirror some of this variability. So we want they've placed these research and extension centers in different areas of the state deliberately to represent the agriculture that is going on and being conducted across the state. So again, as we look at how the University of Nebraska is addressing agriculture across the state, we see that they're trying to take some of this variability into account. As a result of this, that students will be exposed to a wide range of environments, and a lot of these environments will be representative of numerous areas throughout North America and really around the globe. A lot of developing countries are located in areas where we have arid situations, arid climates, and in western Nebraska we do have a semi-arid area where we again learn to utilize crops that are growing in areas where we have very high evapotranspiration requirements, but also where we are short water as well. So these are experiences that can be very important throughout the learning process, and as we are working in the Doctor of Plant Health program.